Hi, Dave. Today we're talking about the ACFI Annual Fraud Conference, which took place on the 29th of September to the 1st of October. There were so many amazing people that were there to share their knowledge, their expert knowledge, such as yourself. First off, how are you today?
I'm very well, Indiana, and yourself.
So good. I had such a great time tuning into the conference, Dave. There were so many incredible speakers. For me personally, it's very difficult to name one, but what was your highlight?
The conference was really wide and it had so many different angles to it. It wasn't just based for accountants or for lawyers. It had a variety of people speaking. So we went through somebody like Bruce Payne, who talked about interviewing techniques and how interviewing techniques have actually changed over the past 15, 20 years and what the modern approach to interviewing is. So rather than standing over somebody and waterboarding them until they tell you what you want to hear, actually listening to the person and then using what they've told you in order to find out what the truth is. We had Kevin Lowe talking about computer forensics, who showed us how we started off with a centralized computer, went out to independent computers, and now we're getting more and more back into a centralized computer again. I mean, with the faster internet speeds that we're getting now, there's a good chance that in the next few years, your computer won't have a hard drive at all. Or if it does, it will have a really small one. Everything will be stored in the cloud. We had Paul Manning talking about his time as an undercover police officer and how he saw AML being broken on the front lines, how he saw people actually laundering the proceeds of crime and how that took place. We had a talk from the Joy Foundation on how people are trafficked and how people get into trafficking and sex trafficking. And what was quite frightening there is a statistic that's saying that about 95% of people who are sex trafficked are born in Canada. I always thought it was bringing in foreigners in order to do that. We heard from Paul Eminali on how bad the procurement fraud in government is. And that's one of my real bugbears is how did we spend $177 million on Burloak Underpass?
I heard it's the bridge.
The bridge, and we've talked a lot about that. But he went into how much fraud there is and why we're becoming a failed state if we don't get this under control. It really is a problem. There were just so many good speakers that it's hard to say that, which one was the best and what the best was. There's so much to learn from all of this.
I think it was the one speaker that said, I don't know if you remember, where he says, for forensic accounting, you need to base every single, your judgment on every single unique situation. He said, be like fluid, be like water. So he said, you need to be fluid, you need to be like water. I don't know if you remember that one.
He is very right in his approach. No two frauds are the same. They all differ slightly. Some of them are really easy to catch. A guy writes out a check and puts it into his own bank account. I mean, it's 101, really easy to catch. But somebody who takes 10 cents off every $100 that you buy into your company, not that easy to catch. Small amounts, big money, really good way of defrauding a company.
So true. So now I know you've already kind of answered this, but did anything surprise you during these sessions other than, I think you just mentioned the human trafficking, but were there any other big surprises?
There were. I mean, it's amazing how far we've got with OSINT at the moment, so open source intelligence. There are a lot of tools out there now that are free or paid for tools, which give you a tremendous amount of data behind a LinkedIn post, or data behind a Facebook post, or data behind an Instagram post. And how critical it is that when you see something, you make a copy of it in the best way that you possibly can as soon as possible.
I heard that, saying take a screen grab, right? Like you never know if it's going to go away. If you see it, take a screen grab, add it to your collection.
Yeah, that's your collection. And preferably do your screen grab in a way that can show that it hasn't been tampered. The old way of doing it used to be you just got your snipping tool out and you snipped it quickly. But there are far better tools than that in order to do this now.
Dave, I saw that you were kind of steering the conversation a lot of the time. Did you have a favorite question from the audience?
I'm vice president of the ACFI, so I took it on to read out the questions that had come through from the audience into for the speakers. I don't know if I've got a favorite question, but what I was really happy with is that we had a lot of questions that came through. There were a lot of people who talked about different parts of their life and interacted in the conference, which made us realize that people were actually listening. It's one of the hardest things about a virtual conference is to work out whether people have just got you on in the background or whether they're actually listening to the conference.